Hello there folks, my name is Spoonks and welcome back to another episode of Box Office Chat. This is the show where I break down the top 5 domestic box office results, see where each movie landed, and see how well each movie did. So let's get started. Number 5 was The Forge, opening with $6.6 million this weekend domestically, and that total stays the same worldwide as it hasn't been released internationally as of yet. Yet another faith-based movie comes to surprise the top 5. I was for sure it would be The Crow or maybe even one of the holdovers from last week sticking around in the top 5, but no, it was actually this movie, which is actually really impressive. Again, I did not expect this movie to make as much as it did or land in the top 5, but it goes to show you these movies have an audience and they will show up and go and see these movies. It'll be interesting to see how front-loaded this is. It does seem like the audience really did like this movie. It got the coveted A+ cinema score rating, so hopefully that leads to good things. Hopefully this can be a sleeper hit for the film. Otherwise, this could just be another faith-based movie that's very front-loaded and then just, leaves the top 5 soon after because of that. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see where this movie goes from here. But yeah, very surprising in the best way, in my opinion. Always happy to see a movie come out of nowhere and surprise and shake up the top 5, and this movie did just that. I'm not expecting this movie to be, the next Deadpool and Wolverine or Inside Out 2 or anything, but as faith-based movies go, this is a very solid opening. Number 4 was Blink Twice, opening with $7.3 million this weekend domestically and $13 million worldwide. Now, this was one of the movies I was expecting to crack the top 5, and it pretty much met my expectations for it. Despite a pretty big marketing push, big for the type of movie this is, I just really wasn't seeing this movie breaking out, unfortunately. There just didn't seem to be a lot of buzz or interest. I didn't personally know a lot of people talking about this movie, getting hyped up about it or anything, and so the film, while it managed to crack the top 5, and that's definitely an achievement, and it isn't even that bad of an opening worldwide given the $20 million budget. I'm sure it'll be able to make that back worldwide. I'm still a bit concerned on how this movie's gonna do. Even if it managed to make the most out of this slow period, we're gonna get back into motion in September, with Beetlejuice and the next Transformers movie. So this movie's going to really need a lot of help in the long run. Hopefully, word of mouth helps it out. It does seem to be mixed. Unfortunately, it got a B- cinema score rating, so that's concerning. It's not horrible, but it's definitely concerning. Hopefully the word of mouth takes off for this movie and it can be another little August surprise, but it just isn't looking like that. I don't know too many people who saw this movie or talking about this movie. It just didn't seem like there was a lot of hype for this movie initially. So not a bad opening given the fact that it wasn't that expensive to make, but still not a great one. I'm sure they were hoping for a bigger turnout for this. Number 3 was It Ends With Us, making $11 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $120 million and a worldwide total of $246 million. God, this movie just continues to surprise. This movie is pretty much a phenomenon in its own right. In terms of this decade, this is pretty much the biggest rom-com. It surpassed Anyone But You, Ticket to Paradise, and The Lost City, and it's on its way of hitting $150 million domestically. I wasn't expecting this movie to reach those heights, and yet here we are. It's definitely going to be able to do that, especially with with how much it's making the most out of the dry season, the slow period we're facing at the box office right now. But that's not even the best part of it. Worldwide it surpassed the $200 million milestone, but it's on its way to $250. Hell, if it can keep going at the rate it's going, it's probably going to surpass $300 million worldwide, which on a budget of $25 million is insane. Just the legs on this movie, the word of mouth on it, this is truly the big August surprise. Everyone really wants to go and check this movie out. It's the talk of the town, and the movie is reaping all the rewards from it. People are very excited to go check this movie out, and they are checking this movie out. Not much more else to say except bravo. Number 2 was Alien Romulus, making $16 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $71 million and a worldwide total of $225 million. So it appears this movie was on the front-loaded side of things. It dropped 61%, bit of a hefty drop in its second weekend. Not only that, it fell to number 2 after it was number 1 last week. definitely a bit of a bummer there, but it's still doing relatively well. Again, this was an $80 million movie and was originally supposed to be dropped onto Hulu, so the fact that this movie has done this well thus far is still rather impressive. It's going to make back its $80 million budget probably by the end of this week, and it should get to $100 million domestically very soon. But internationally, this thing is taking off. It's doing the opposite of what Twisters did as far as international grosses. It's already at 220 million worldwide and sure to get to 250 very soon, so it's already doubled that $80 million budget. So while things are definitely, you know, it faced a bump in the road, I don't think this is like, this signifies doom or anything. This is not like Alien Covenant or anything. It's just that, you know, this is like a bump in the road. Hopefully, you know, this is the only bump in the road right now for this movie. But yeah, it's still a bit of a bump in the road. It's still a pretty hefty drop in its second weekend. We'll see if it can pick itself back up from this rut. But yes, things are still looking pretty good for Alien Romulus. And finally, let's end the video off with the number one movie of the weekend, which was Deadpool and Wolverine, making $18 million this weekend, adding to a domestic total of $577 million and a worldwide total of $1.2 billion. Surprisingly enough, Deadpool and Wolverine was able to jump back into the top spot after losing it to Alien last weekend, which is really impressive to see. You know, it shows, you know, that Alien was really front-loaded, but also, you know, the word of mouth is still very strong with Deadpool and Wolverine. People are still going out to see it, even amongst, you know, like the dry season. People are still going to see this again and again, or seeing it for the first time now. It's at 1.2 billion worldwide. It should get to 1.3 billion very soon. We'll see how much higher this movie can go. It's pretty much broken every single record it needed to break. And on the domestic side of things, it is now a little over 20 million away from the $600 million milestone, which will make it the second film of the year to do so, behind Inside Out 2. Again, I still think Inside Out 2 is going to be the champion of the box office in terms of the summer and the year. I just think that movie just had bigger advantages towards it than this movie had, but this is still a really impressive result for Deadpool and Wolverine. The fact that it's been in the top 5 this long, this R-rated bloody action comedy pretty much, and was able to reclaim the number one spot after being dethroned last week is still rather very impressive. Yeah, just not much more else to say on this movie. I've pretty much said all that needs to be said about it at this point. It's just done super well. And those were your top 5 domestic box office results for this weekend. And normally this would be the part of the video where I discuss the upcoming new wide releases and seeing where they would land in the top 5. But just like this weekend, it doesn't seem to be a pretty big weekend overall. It looks like another slow burner. We're pretty much just waiting for Beetlejuice to come out at this point. But yeah, we got some new wide releases. I know Afraid is like a new horror movie coming out, but I just don't see a lot of marketing or buzz for that movie or any of the other new wide releases coming out this weekend. So it's going to be another slow weekend for sure. Definitely in the dry season of the summer. The summer's winding down for sure. I do think we'll see these movies crack the top 5, but they won't make a really big impact, unfortunately. But we'll see how well those movies truly do, as well as the rest of the movies that land in the top 5 on the next Box Office Chat. And that's going to do it for this week's episode of Box Office Chat. What did you all think of the results? Were you satisfied, unsatisfied? Comment down below and let me know. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you like this channel, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on all those social media links right there. And until next time, everyone, stay sharp.